Hello, Vengeance, for being number one. Hello, Caleb. Yeah. Um, Hello, Jackie. Khan. Awesome name. Welcome. Yeah. How's my Christmas? Well, James, I did a whole video on it, so it was all right. I'm actually kind of glad you guys. It's nice to know that there are some people who pay attention to the community tab, so they know to show up at one instead of three. Just long story short, I have a doctor's appointment at three, so that's why I couldn't do it. So that's why I had to push it forward for like to one. So we're doing it from one to two, and then I'm spending like 30 minutes kind of getting the collector's edition video set up because I have to pull them all out and I gotta like arrange them so that they're in a good position to start filming. So yeah. How's my day going? I woke up like 2 hours ago. Actually woke up at 8, and then I just passed out a little bit. I just wasn't ready to wake up entirely, and then I woke up at 11, and realized I woke up later than I would have wanted to. I would have preferred to have woken up at 10 or 9. That way, I would have had some extra time to get the collector's edition video ready sooner. So, and I have a doctor's appointment at 3, so that's why we had to do the stream about 2 hours sooner than usual. So that's what's going on. But how are you doing? You bought Persona 4 Golden and you're enjoying it so far. Really? How far are you? How many members have you picked up? Because it's a pretty incredible game. Like if you've never played Persona before, I would say yeah. Persona 4 is especially Golden version. That's a good game to get started with. Yeah, Rodin. It was okay. I had to work, unfortunately, which is never fun, but it was okay. You play Final Fantasy 16 for the first time, and it's nice, but it's too easy. Yes, it is. It is piss easy. Even when you beat the game the first time and you go into like the harder version where they mix up all the enemies, like it's pretty easy. Like that's like my biggest complaint about Final Fantasy 16. Like it's piss easy. However, I will say that despite being easy, some of the boss fights can be really, really challenging. I will definitely say that the Omega fight in the newest DLC was actually really hard. It was actually the hardest fight I'd been in since I played the game. Like that fight is way harder than the final boss. Like the final boss, once you've leveled up your characters, once you've leveled up Clive, it is piss easy. Some of these boss fights are so easy, you can beat them without even being hit. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was able to beat enemies that were, like, 20 levels higher than me because of how easy the combat can be. Especially if you have the enemy target your party members who can't die. So, they act as distractions while you attack your boss. But yes, it is by far the easiest Final Fantasy game I've ever played. I love it, but it is by far the easiest. Yeah, Mel. Yeah, May. I have a doctor's appointment at 3. So yeah, I had to push it forward for about 2 hours. So that's really a reason. And I kind of want just a little time just to get the room ready so I can start filming the collector's edition video because that's gonna take some time to film because of how many collector's editions I have. So that's what's going on. Right now there are about 4 members in my group. Okay, so if you have 4 members. Okay, I think I know where you are. So you're pretty well into the game, but yeah, I hope you have fun with it. You've been doing good. Just been alone at Christmas recently, but you got Christmas presents from mom, so that's great. Yeah, I got some gifts too. They're not here yet. Everyone here at the apartment, we all kind of did the same thing where we ordered presents a little closer to Christmas, and some of them won't arrive till a little bit later after Christmas, and one particular gift won't even get here till early January. So yeah, that's how things work out sometimes. You finally bought Resident Evil 6 on PlayStation 4, and it is really. You know what? I really appreciate Vampire you saying that because I feel the same way. I will say Resident Evil 5 is probably my second favorite Resident Evil game. And without question, it is by far the best co-op game I've ever played. Like, a lot of people like to complain about the AI, and I'll admit the AI for me was a lot worse for Chris than it was with Sheva. Sheva was actually more useful than some human players I've played with, but dude, you get a friend to play that. That's incredible. I mean, heck, if I ever have some time and you want to play Resident Evil 5 together, heck, I'd be more than happy to. Like I'm always game to pop that in and play it again, especially if I can play it on PlayStation 5. So, I'm always up to play Resident Evil 5 on co-op with anybody. Which is why, if they do decide to remake it, they have to keep the co-op element in. I do not want them to try to make it more horror. I mean, they can balance it between the action and the horror like old school Resident Evil 4 did, but keep the co-op aspect in. Do not make it single player. That is key. You got Spider-Man 2 with the PlayStation 5 for Christmas. Have I played the game yet? Yes, I have played it. I didn't like it. I quit playing it after maybe about 6 hours. So, and from what I saw with the story, I'm not going to give Spider-Man 3. I just don't like the story choices and the direction that they're going with it. I don't like it, so I couldn't finish it. Have I seen Aquaman 2? No, I'm not gonna. I haven't watched this. The last superhero film movie I saw was the Batman. Like I'm done with cinematic universe movies. Like the last Marvel film I saw was Avengers. What was the one? Something Wars. It was the one before Endgame. I can't even remember what it was. That was like the last MCU film I've ever seen. Like once I saw that, I knew I didn't have to watch Endgame because I knew what the plot was going to be, and I have not seen any MCU films after that one, so I don't even know. But I wasn't gonna go see Aquaman because there's no point. Like the DCEU is dead, Warner Brothers killed it, so there's no point in seeing Aquaman because it's not going anywhere, and it's a sad way to end it, personally. I have the PlayStation 3 version, but frame rate issues. Yeah, it is a little bit better playing it on PlayStation 4. Although I still do have my PlayStation 3 version, so yeah. Have I seen DM's Devil May Cry Peak Combat trailer? No, I have not seen that, but maybe if I have time, I'll see it. Can I name the Spice Girls by their names? Oh my God, hell no. Are you kidding me? Dude, as a 90s kid, the Spice Girls are way more annoying than the Backstreet Boys. And in a crazy change of event, I actually still remember all the Backstreet Boys by their names. Like, that's how much annoying my older sister was obsessed with the Backstreet Boys in the 90s. Dear God. When I know them by name, that's a problem. And I think they're staying here in Vegas. I think they have a residence here in Vegas, I think. You don't understand the hate. First of all, I think they just hated it because it was a little bit more action focused. But I don't think it was nearly as action focused as, say, something like Resident Evil 6. I think Resident Evil 6 with the Chris campaign went way too far into the action. But I think that I feel like for Resident Evil 4, it was like 75% horror, 25% action. And then Resident Evil 5 came and it was like 50% action, 50% horror. And it had co-op, and you weren't and you were in Africa, and so they thought that took away from the horror aspect. And I do agree, but I'm like, well, yeah, sometimes you don't need to have it in a horror-like setting. Like zombies or these type of enemies can pop up anywhere, and I think that's even scarier. I think it's scarier when enemies attack you during the daylight because that means you're not safe at any time. You're not safe in the daytime or the nighttime. I think to be always being in an area where we're constantly in danger, I think that is scary. Not so much just in a abandoned, burnt out, post-apocalyptic city or something like Raccoon City. Am I into Parasite Eve? No, I cannot say that I am. Since I've played Resident Evil 4, which Resident Evil game do I think you should play next? I heard Resident Evil Remake is pretty good. Yeah, I'd say if you want to jump into the next one, yeah, I'd give the remake a try. But personally, I didn't like the first third of that game. I didn't like the entire section of the police department. Once it got past that, that's when the game, at least for me, was starting to get really good. But I think for someone like you, I don't think you're gonna have the same kind of issues I have. So yeah, I would recommend you probably should jump into the remake of 2. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy that. What clown characters from industry scare you the most? Ronald McDonald always freaked me out. That's why I'm more of a Burger King fan. Do I think Batman Returns is a Christmas movie? That's a very complicated question because a lot of people would say like, well, it's Die Hard really a Christmas movie? But Batman, I, d- I would say no. I don't think that movie has enough Christmas elements. Die Hard has like genuine Christmas elements in it. I don't think Batman Return does. Because saying that's like a Christmas movie is like saying Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie because that movie takes place around the same time. But like there's like no it's only mentioned in the background. So no, I personally I would not consider Batman Returns a Christmas movie personally. One of the criticisms of Spider-Man did was a completely understanding was how hard was pushing Miles because it makes no sense for him to be the lead. I agree. I agree. And from how it ended with apparently Doc Ock and Norman are going to be teaming up. If you're pushing Peter out of the game, pretty much, I'm like, it makes no sense to have Norman and Doc Ock fight Miles. It makes no sense. It's like that's the biggest criticism I have about Miles Morales is that he doesn't have any well-known villains. I'm sick of him fighting Peter's villains. Like, give him his own collection of villains. I mean, look at Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. I'm like, yeah, did he have like a few moments where he took on villains that Bruce usually did? Yes, it happened very rarely, but he had his own collection of villains. Were they as well known and as popular as Bruce's villains? No, of course not. That's all I asked for from Miles. But no, they keep putting him against Peter's villains, and that's annoying. And I'll be honest, I never liked the idea that you couldn't give him a different name. It's like you cannot have two people have the same name. You cannot have two Spider-Man operating in New York. It doesn't work. It's like having two Batman. It's like, give him his own name. Call him Spider-Man Noir or Spider-Man Black, even though some people might say that's racist. Or Spider-Man something. Something that makes him stand apart from Spider-Man. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Unless you kill him off, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Then Miles can take on the mantle. But I do not like the idea of two people holding the same title in the same city. Now, if, let's say, Miles moved to, say, like Chicago or something, or another city, and he relocated there, then he can hold the title of Spider-Man as long as he stays away from New York. That's just how I feel about the whole thing. You'd love to play Resident Evil 5 together. You just have to fix your online first. Okay, man, you keep me updated. When you get it fixed, you let me know, and we'll set up a date. I actually haven't played that in a while. I don't mind picking that up again. Resident Evil 5 still had enough horror elements. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it had enough horror elements. Have I played Nintendo Switch yet? Have I played Nintendo Switch? Have I played the Switch yet, man? Have I played the Switch? Jackie, where have you been the last 3 years? Are you kidding? Of course I've had my dude. I've had my Switch for. Oh shit! Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. I swear to God, this better still be working. I think it's tough. Nintendo products are usually pretty tough. I blame you for this. Okay, it's good. Yeah, no cracks. No, it's all good. Okay, yeah, it's good. Yes, I do have a Switch, and I actually, some of you may already know this, I actually modified mine to look like an old school NES. And yes, I do have a bunch of games. I've had it for like 3 years, but I won mine accidentally trying to prove a point. So, yeah. If you had a spaceship in Star Wars, what would the name be and what would it look like? Oh, I already know what I'd pick. I'd pick the Outrider. I picked the Outrider, Dash Rendar ship, the sister ship of the Millennium Falcon. That would be my ship, and that's why I would keep it. I would keep the same name. That's my favorite ship in Star Wars. Which Batman sidekick do I prefer? I think Dick Grayson's probably the best one. My personal favorite Robin would be Tim Drake, personally. But I think out of all the partners he's had, I do think Dick Grayson was probably the best one he'd ever had in terms of his development into becoming Nightwing, and then him still working pretty well close to Batman afterwards, and kind of going his own path. So yeah, I do think Dick Grayson was probably the best. Do you take on Spectacular Spider-Man show? No, I can't say I have. Have you ever thought about doing a video case showcasing all of your weapons camos in different games? What do you mean? What you mean? You mean weapons I have from different games? I've done that, and I don't think that list would have changed by now. I think the only addition I would have added between that was like one of the first videos I ever made on YouTube was I showed off all my weapons. I haven't like the only weapons afterwards I probably picked up was probably my Yamato sword from Devil May Cry. So I don't really think I need to do another video kind of showing an updated version because I haven't really gotten too many weapons. Maybe Peter and Miles could be called Spider-Man P and Spider-Man M. Like if you wanted to do that, fine. But like they didn't do that. That's a cool looking Switch. Oh no. Do I have a favorite Legos game? No, I don't have a Legos game. Unfortunately, I've played some of the Lego games, but I wouldn't say that I love any one of them too much. Holy snap! I'm all caught up with questions. You guys got anything else? Wow, I didn't think I'd catch. Wow, I haven't done that in a long time. We're actually caught up to all the questions. How was my Christmas, Phantom Cities? My Christmas was okay. How about you? I did a video showing what I got for Christmas, and then I had to go to work, and work was pretty chaotic. Some craziness happened, but yeah, I hope your Christmas was great and everyone else's. Who has better females, Resident Evil or Metal Gear? Definitely Resident Evil. I can't say Metal Gear is known too well for its female characters. I mean, you have characters like Naomi Hunter and Sunny and Meryl and Eva and Dr. Strangelove and you got the BMB unit. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's known very much for its female characters. But Resident Evil, yeah. Some of their female characters are all easily on par with a lot of the guy characters. You could easily, in terms of popularity, you could easily put Jill and Ada on the same level as characters like Leon and Chris. Easily, that's a no-brainer. Which clown villain scares you the most? I don't know too many clown villains, so it's hard to say. Favorite candy? Favorite candy is Now and Laters. However, to be fair, I haven't seen Now and Laters around in a while. I'm pretty sure they do make it more, but like I don't see it as much as I used to when I was younger. You'd love to see Sheva return. Absolutely, I would love to see Sheva return. I mean, she's half the team that took out Wesker, the primary villain of Resident Evil, so I don't believe Sheva should be a one and done character. Absolutely not. I was actually upset that she hasn't shown up since. If you haven't seen Spectacular Spider-Man show, you highly recommend watching it. Maybe I'll watch it when I have some time. What lightsaber hilt design am I getting next? Okay, so I'm curious, Phantom. Did you already see how I already got a lightsaber? In fact, if you actually see, two of my lightsabers are already on the bed, as I'm moving things around. I think the next lightsaber I'm going to try to get either Asajj Ventress's lightsaber from Galaxy's Edge, because that's a yellow blade. I think a yellow lightsaber is probably going to be the next color I get, because I have red, I have purple, I have blue now, I have pink, and I have green. So I think yellow needs to be the next color, yellow or white. And Ahsoka's lightsabers, I don't like getting a pair of them. I would prefer to get just one. But I know that Asajj Ventress's lightsaber that she got when she was teaming up with Quinlan Voss was yellow, and I've seen it, and it's a solid size. So I think I'm leaning more towards getting that lightsaber, because then I'll have 3 Galaxy Edge lightsabers and 3 Saberforge lightsabers. But if I can't get a Ventress lightsaber, then I'll just get yeah, I think that then I'll get the lightsaber from Saberforge. I think that's the hilt I'll get from Kyle Katarn. I'll get his primary color is actually, the funny thing is his lightsaber actually was yellow at one point. He actually did have a yellow lightsaber, so maybe that could work. So yeah. Favorite Madden game? I don't play Madden. One thing I don't do. I do not play. I do not play sport. I do not play video games on sports ever. I've never played a Madden game. I've never played an NBA 2K game. I've never played a FIFA game. I do not play video games that are based off of sports. I prefer to just play the sport myself. Favorite athlete? Oh, probably Julian Edelman. I think he's my favorite. I think he's my favorite football player. He does play in my favorite position in sports. So yeah, yeah. Favorite animated show? I gotta go with Rocko's Modern Life. I always loved watching that when I was a kid. What games you hate but people love? That I hated? Well, I guess the most recent one would probably be Spider-Man 2. I mean, everyone loved that game. I didn't, so I guess that's the most recent entry. Potential video. Top 5 favorite Nintendo DS video games. I don't think I could do a top 10 DS games because when it came to my 3DS, I don't have a lot of games for it. Like I mainly have my DS for Pokemon. Like I think that's all I have. Maybe I'm thinking of like all the games I have for my 3DS, and I'm like I never had a DS. I have a 3DS, and I think the only games I have Soul Silver, Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold. I've got Metal Gear Solid 3, maybe Final Fantasy 10. I'd have to double check, and that's about it. Like I typically get Nintendo Switch games for primarily Pokemon games, but specifically either old school Pokemon games, typically. So like for something like, yeah, like the only Pokemon games I have for my Switch are these two. And that's because I didn't get to play the original versions when they came out on the older DS. And they were in the original style of Pokemon games. Like the most recent ones, like Violet and Scarlet, I tried playing that and I don't like it. I did not like it at all. I played the game for like 3 hours. And I immediately returned it and picked up a copy of Callisto Protocol, which may not have or may have been a mistake. You like the bent lightsaber hilt, so you like something like Count Dooku's. Okay, yeah. Believe it or not, the curved handle actually has some handle advantages a little bit. Marcus, sorry you missed the past trips. That's okay. I know everyone's busy with life. No worries. What anticipated movies am I looking forward to seeing next year? You know what? That's a solid question because I think next year really is going to be an awful year for games because I've already looked ahead. I cannot find there's like maybe one game coming out next year that I'm interested in playing. And if that is the case, then I need to come up with some serious ideas to make video content for next year, because that is not good. Hang on, I thought maybe it's on my laptop. Yeah, maybe it's on my laptop. My laptop always runs a little bit faster. Yeah. Ah, here it is. Yeah. So, like, the only movies this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I only have, like, 8 movies on my list, and they're all sequels. Like, I got Dune Part 2. I got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I've got Deadpool 3. I got Kraven the Hunter. I got Beetlejuice 2. I've got Venom 3. I've got Gladiator 2. And Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's only sequels. Like, that is nuts. Nothing but sequels. Like, I mean, come on. Come up with something else. But, like, and a couple of them are sequels for movies. I don't even think they need sequels. It's weird. Crazy time we're living in. Have I ever taken martial arts classes? I did when I was a kid with my uncle, but I personally would just be more accustomed to just learning how to shoot a gun. You punch someone with karate, they get up. You shoot someone with a gun, they typically stay down. I'm that kind of person. It's just like, yeah, like I when I was a teenager, I got to see my uncle teach classes. And I guess maybe it's not actually for protection, maybe it's for discipline, but I'm looking at like how he's teaching these kids. I was like, I'm like, I didn't say this to him, but I was just like, Uncle Jesse, everything you're showing these kids would not work if the opposing person has a gun. Like he's using like a foam knife, and I'm like, it is rare that I hear people try to rob someone with a knife. Like typically, if someone's gonna rob someone, they're going to use a gun. So, like, everything you're teaching these kids is not going to be effective at all. So, I'm not saying that martial arts can't be effective, but I'm like, what I saw him teach, and I only saw him teach like a few times. Like, this wasn't really going to help. You always found sports video games really pointless. I agree. I don't get the point. What's my favorite football match that I've seen this year? Oh. What was it? What was it? I don't know. We haven't had it's been an unusual season for. Believe it or not, I think. I think the most interesting game I saw was the Patriots game that they had in Germany, because it just kind of showed how bad this team could get. Like they oh my, the Colts didn't even get a touchdown and they still beat us. And like that was the game that I felt like, yeah, this team's like, I will be shocked if Belichick is back next year. Like, I'm ready to move on. I think he should take the Chargers job. I think they've got a pretty good defense. You've got an incredible quarterback who just needs to learn how to read defenses, just like he taught Tom Brady when he started in like 2001, 2002. Yeah, I don't really think there's much he could do with the Patriots at this point. I mean, their defense is good, but like offensively, like we've already put Mac Jones on the bench. I don't think he's ever going to play another snap for the Patriots unless, Zappy does something. Unless he, gets injured or something. But like the Patriots are not good this year. Like this is probably, I will say this is probably the worst Patriots team we've had in my lifetime. So being 33 years old, I'm like, I've looked back at all the Patriots teams before that. Like I look at the Drew Bledsoe era. That was a really good year. That was and he became quarterback in like, I want to say like 93, 94. But his entire run there was actually pretty good. So you look at the Tom Brady era, the Drew Bledsoe era. I can't really remember the small period before that period. But yeah, this is probably the worst Patriots team that has existed in my lifetime, which is crazy because they are not good. And they're winning! And I want them to lose! I don't think Final Fantasy X was released on the 3DS. You might be right. I'm just thinking it's like maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I know it was released on the Vita, but yeah. Top 5 favorite legendary Pokemon. Lugia, Ho-Oh, Mewtwo, Entei, and Zapdos, I would say. Hey, what's up, Zachdorf? How you doing? Portalopt versus Greer from Portalopt versus Glenn from Vendetta. I don't like these versus questions, but I go with Portalopt by default. It wasn't. It was on the Switch, though. My knowledge. Video idea: top 10 worst games. I don't think I could do worse. I don't think I. Yeah. Jackie. I don't think I could do worse. I don't. It is incredibly. I don't play bad games. I typically do a lot of research in a game before I get it, and so it's incredibly rare I go into a game having done research and it ends up being awful. I could say that the closest may have been something like Callisto Protocol, but like that was like, it wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't as good as I felt it could have been, and there's some clear flaws with it that have not been fixed yet. But in terms of like just flat out awful games, I actually can't think of any. The last one that I can recall was probably the most recent Wolfenstein game. That was a bad game that looked good at first, but once you played it, that was a generally bad game. And that's the last one I can recall that I went into thinking the game would at least be good, and it was just awful. Maybe you can do more retro views. I think, yeah, Vamp, I think that's the direction I'll have to go next year. I'm not going to be dropping my second job until May. And so, like, once I've moved into the new location and I've gotten a proper background set up, because, again, I don't like having my bedroom in the background. I don't think it looks very good. I don't think it's very appeasing to newer viewers, and I apologize for that. And it's weird if you go back, like, every few years, like, the last, like, 3 or 4 years. Like, you go back last year, there's a different setup in a new location. You go the year before that, I'm in a different location. I prefer that, like, one of the big things I'm looking for in my new place is I want to have my bedroom and my filming location in two different spots. That is going to be key. Because I like it that way. But yeah, I think doing retro reviews is something I want to try to go back to, because not me with me probably not getting any new games next year, I do want to still do game reviews, so that will probably be the focus I do next year. So, what do you think about the ninja characters like Snake Eyes and GI Joe? He's okay. He just doesn't talk, so I don't really I'm not the biggest GI Joe fan, to be fair. What piece of technology you can't do without? I guess it's a tie between my laptop and my phone. I mean, we all have these. These are like our mini computers anyway. But there's a lot of like important information on my laptop that I need. So I think I'm leaning more towards perhaps my laptop. I think like if I could grab like if my house is burning down and there was like one thing I had to pick up, it's like either the phone or the laptop. I probably would grab the laptop. Although everyone keeps their phone on them, like it's crazy. Have I seen the anime show called Yu Yu Hakusho? Absolutely. Yeah, I love Yu Yu Hakusho. And yes, I've seen the Netflix series, and well, it is something. That's all I'll say about it. It's something. Yeah, but yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho with Yusuke and Kurama and Kuwabara and Hiei. Yeah, I've seen Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah, love it. Love that show. I love guns more, but I would totally combine guns with martial arts. Yeah, I agree. Something like that. Like what we see in John Wick, something like that. That's something I wouldn't mind learning. I've never finished a JRPG in my life. Got any advice? Keep going. That's just keep going. Like it'll eventually end. Like I'll tell you this much. If you have, I'll say this much. If you have a Switch, get this game. It's you can beat it in about 12 hours. It is very, very simple. I still want to do a review on this. It's very, very simple. It tells you where to go every single time. It's a little bit challenging later on, but this is a game you can easily beat in a day or two if you just stay committed to it. It's not too long. It's not too overcomplicated. It's fun to get the fundamentals of how to play a JRPG. So yeah, I would highly recommend that if you're not into JRPGs, so you want to try one, get this game. It is going to be worth your time. I would absolutely recommend it. Pokemon match against another player. You can only use 2 of your Pokemon team. Who would I pick? 2 Pokemon only? Snorlax and Lugia. Yeah. As long as I'm not fighting a fighting type, I think Snorlax is a tank. He can take a lot of damage. It's usually only fighting Pokemon he has a problem with, but not too many people carry those. Unless they have a Lucaria, then I might have some problems. That guy's although I have my own Lucaria, so. Favorite medieval weapon? A broadsword, I guess? You should do a top 10 underrated animes. That might be a little bit tough. I mean, I am an anime fan, but I don't think I've seen enough of them to say which ones I think are underrated. Have I seen Cowboy Bebop? Yes, I have. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I did like when they announced that they were doing the Netflix series, I did go back and rewatch the animated versions. I don't think it actually finished. I don't think so. But I thought it was okay. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. Favorite Star Wars show? I guess The Mandalorian Season 2, I would say. That was probably the best one. I mean, the first 2 seasons of Mando were really good. Season 3 was a bit of a mess. I've not seen Andor, although I've heard people say it's good. Ahsoka had a lot of problems. Kenobi had a lot of problems. Book of Boba Fett had a lot of problems with the crazy part. The two best episodes of Boba Fett didn't even have Boba Fett in there, so yeah. I would say probably Mando Season 2. Although they kind of ruined it with Season 3, so yeah. Who is better, Crash or Spyro? Well, I'm not a fan of either one of those two, but if I had to pick one, I would probably say Crash. You love JRPGs, I just have a hard time finishing them. Well, then just push through and finish them. I mean, what is the cause of you having a hard time finishing them? Is it that you get bored or it gets too hard? Like, I mean, there's almost no reason not to keep going until you beat the game. I mean, the game will end. I mean, JRPGs are typically longer to beat than most other games, but heck, just keep going and, you'll beat it. You have Mario RPG on SNES, and is that okay? Yeah, but I do think this is a better version, to be fair. It's definitely worth getting the updated version. I had played the older SNES version, but this is definitely a lot more pleasing to the eye. So, what is your problem with Ahsoka season acting? No, it's not the acting. It's simply that I don't really think we were given a lot of major questions. Like Balian, like one character, we still don't really know his motivation. It was just how characters were acting. I think the whole Anakin scenes, I think they were just thrown in there for fan service, which fan service is good, but when it's kind of blatantly obvious, I mean, it's just like, well, did this really progress the story? Like, everyone loved when we saw that entire section that showed a live-action Clone Wars, which was incredible. Favorite episode, by far. I was like, what if we got an actual live-action Clone Wars show? That would be incredible. But I just felt like they kind of just threw that in there because, fans would get excited for it. And yeah, I think the biggest problem with Ahsoka is that if you did not watch Rebels, as I did not, there's a lot of elements you're not going to know about. Like, the only episodes of Rebels I saw involved Kenobi or Vader. And when Vader was involved, but past that point, I don't really know. I didn't know what happened to Ezra. I didn't know what happened to Thrawn. I didn't know what happened to a lot of these characters. So like Sabine, I don't even really remember who she was. But that's the problem with Ahsoka. If you did not watch Rebels, you're gonna be completely lost. And it never takes time to explain how we got to where we're at if you didn't watch the show. And most people didn't. Like, most people who saw Ahsoka would not have watched Rebels. Rebels was not as big of a show as Clone Wars was by a long shot. So I think that's the problem with some of these shows. It's a problem that in order to understand what's going on or to understand where characters got to where they were, you have to watch another show. And that's never a good sign. Cowboy Bebop did finish. Oh, okay, I'd have to go back and double check. The one thing I hate about Resident Evil 4 Remake is that they turned Leon into Ethan Winters. I heard that. I heard that that's what they did. It just from things I saw, it was not Resident Evil 4 anymore. They might as well just call it Resident Evil 9 or something and just call it something else. It's because Disney. Yeah, well, modern Disney, woke Disney ruins everything. What's something you fear more than Halloween? Monsters, buildings, weather? What do I fear? Other than what's something you fear more at Halloween? Oh, what I fear more than Halloween? I guess killers, I guess. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, if you, like, for example, like someone committing a crime dressed as a Halloween character, like, yeah, that would be crazy. Balian wants to end the endless cycle of the downfall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire that began again and again. So he wants to be so ostensibly he wants to be a Darth Krayt. But even Krayt couldn't do that. And Krayt's a lot smarter in the Force than Balian is. And just like, what do you think's going to happen? And obviously he fails. Obviously, because the sequel trilogy happens. So obviously he fails. Sorry you had to step out and take care of something. No worries. I wouldn't have known. Sabine was the woman in Mando armor. Yeah, but I didn't know who that was. I don't really remember her from Rebels. I did not watch Rebels. I don't remember what happened. I don't know what happened to who trained Ezra. I think he died, but I don't know how. Like, if it didn't involve Obi-Wan Kenobi or Darth Vader, I didn't really watch it. I didn't watch it. So I don't know what the crew of the Ghost did. I don't know what they did. I just saw those key episodes and then I stopped. But it was never good enough for me to see the whole series. So things happen. Like, I don't know how. Like, I saw how Ahsoka got involved. Like, I saw her fight Vader, but I don't know how she's alive. Like, I was like, wait a minute. I thought, like, we never saw what happened to her. But again, you had to have watched Rebels. I didn't know that. I didn't know that apparently Ahsoka got sucked into this time thing. I didn't know that. I had the people explain that to me because, again, I did not watch Rebels. It should never have to be a requirement to understand what is going on. It should never have to be a requirement. And like that's the biggest problem with the MCU. Is like you had to watch the prior movie to understand what is happening in the next film because that's how they built the whole thing. But like Rebels ended like years ago. Do you think the Clone Wars movie was bad as people said it was? Well, believe it or not, I actually saw the Clone Wars movies in theaters in 2008 while I was in college, and I didn't think it was bad. I had fun with it. Believe it or not, I know that it probably it was not watched more in theaters, but I will say this: the Star Wars Clone Wars movies is only one of 2 movies I've ever seen in my life where I was the only one in the theater. That has happened only 2 times in my life. It was Clone Wars and it was another movie that all of you guys probably don't even remember. But like, it was actually a fun experience because I was not sitting down the whole time. I could actually run around the theater and do all kinds of craziness, and like no one was in there. No, like I paid to go see the movie, so it felt like it was an exclusive watch screening for me only, and that felt good. The reason you love the original Resident Evil 4 more than a remake is because it focuses more on being fun rather than realistic. Exactly. Like, even when a game is really high quality and has a lot of detail, the one thing it needs to be is fun. If you're not having fun, what's the point? Like, trust me, Hideo Kojima, genius. Metal Gear, very, very complicated, but it is fun to play. Something like Death Stranding was not that fun to play, and it took a while to get to the point where the game was like, okay, I'm okay with where we're at now. So that's why I'm like a little concerned. I read that George Lucas said that Disney Star Wars is not canon. I would agree it's not canon. I agree. But heck, George Lucas can't make any decisions since he sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, so how much weight does his opinion really have on it? Not really that much. You've heard Leon returns for Resident Evil 9 since Ethan's dead, which I would rather have Leon or Sherry than Ethan. I don't know what they'll do with 9. I don't know. As long as it's not a first-person shooter, I don't really care. You've seen Metal Gear Rising as Dream Raiden had during Metal Gear Solid 4. I see Metal Gear Rising as more of like a what-if scenario. Like, what if the story continued? What if Raiden turned back into a cyborg? I prefer to believe that the story from Metal Gear ended with 4, as it should have been. What do I think is going to happen in the next Spider-Man Spider-Verse movie? Well, obviously, he's going to have to fight a version of himself, and then he's going to have to a whole bunch of craziness. I think the movie will be okay. I think it'll be fine. I did like the first 2 movies. I'm not a big fan of Miles, but like that version of him he's okay with me. It's still annoying how he can beat fully trained Spider-Man, and he's like the least experienced. My biggest criticism of Miles Morales is that he is the single most powerful version of a Spider-Man character I have ever seen. No version of Peter Parker could realistically beat him. And apparently that happened in the game, where apparently Peter Parker got the symbiote Spider-Man suit, and Miles Morales beat him like he was nothing. Which was like, I knew that was going to happen. I was like, dude, even the symbiote Spider-Man suit, which is like Peter's strongest suit, even that wouldn't stand a chance against Miles. Peter Parker couldn't even beat an amateur Miles Morales. Like, that is how overpowered Miles is, and that's why it was never fun playing as Miles. in Spider-Man 2. Like, every time I had to play as Miles, the game wasn't fun anymore. And then playing a Spider-Man just wasn't fun at all because he felt weak. Like, when my Spider-Man at full health gets killed getting hit twice, and I'm at like level 20 on normal difficulty, makes no sense. Like, Peter Parker, like, I understand he's not wearing an armor, but Peter Parker's a pretty tough character. How the hell he gets, and this wasn't even like an enhanced enemy. This was like 2 thugs. I got hit twice by 2 thugs and I was killed. I was like, what the hell? Like, there was something wrong with the combat in that game. If I haven't mentioned you hate Ethan Winters, okay. I mean, I don't have a big opinion on Ethan Winters. I mean, you know. Do you think Sonic Movie 3 will fall into the trap of being the weakest of the trilogy? I hope not. I mean, they're introducing Shadow. I don't think Jim Carrey is going to come back as Dr. Robotnik, but heck, if they want to focus on Shadow and activate, the use of chaos control, that could be very interesting. Devil May Cry Nero would beat Spider-Man. Which Spider-Man? We talking like Peter Parker or Miles Morales? Because if you're talking Miles Morales, then no. I think Nero would still get his ass kicked. They really nerfed Peter big time in Spider-Man 2. I agree. It was like they made Peter weaker and they made Miles like OP as hell. Like, I hate that. How much time we got? I still got 13 minutes. Well, I had Jedi Survivor, but I had to return it because it was still had a problem where it shut down for no reason. I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully you give that game another chance in the future and beat it. You don't hate Ethan, but he's nowhere near as good as Chris or Leon. I agree, but he was only in 2 games and he's dead, so there wasn't really much they could do with him. How do I feel about there being few comic book movies next year? I don't care. I don't care. I don't remember what year it was, but I think maybe it was like 2001, 2002. It was like the first year where like no comic book movies came out, and it was so refreshing. It's like, oh my god, not a single comic book movie is coming out this year. Like, that's the first time that's happened in like 20-something years. Like, every year there's been like 1, 2, maybe 3 comic book movies. And it's gonna be the same way next year. So, although I'm not like too excited for most of them, to be fair. Devil May Cry characters are more powerful than you think. Oh, I know they're powerful, but I still like Spider-Man. Like, Miles Morales is like OP as character. Like, this is a character who you need to put him up against like a Dragon Ball Z character at like in the present time to find a character that Miles probably couldn't beat. Like, if you put him up against someone like Goku or Vegeta, yeah, I think Goku and Vegeta could handle Miles pretty. Although I do think there's some characters that Miles could beat, like a Krillin or TM or Yamcha or like someone like that. I think Miles could still beat characters like that, but yeah. Do you think comic book video games are dying? No, because we still got Wolverine coming out next year, hopefully. I don't think they're dying. I don't think there's high quality as they used to be, but heck, that can always improve. There's always up and down periods. Is manga destroying comics right now? I don't really read manga much anymore outside of Yu-Gi-Oh. So I don't think so. I haven't really noticed. So you think Dante might have trouble with demons from Marvel, like demons who can make the Ghost Rider? Probably. I think it depends on which Dante you're dealing with. If you're dealing with like the strongest version, then probably not. I think Dante could handle himself in those situations. So what were my thoughts on Violent Night? I didn't see that movie. I did not see that film. Nero, nah, I'd win. I mean, okay. Okay. And heck, I'm caught up on questions again. That's actually pretty neat. Cannot believe I'm caught up 2 times, and I didn't even ask to stop. So I think I'm getting better at this. The current state of the MCU makes me miss the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. Well, I never played that one. I know of it, but I never actually played it personally. What are my thoughts on the 4K Ultra picture? Well, obviously it's great. I'm actually thinking about getting getting the Elgato camera, the Pro one, and that one apparently can shoot in 4K. And I'll be using that for streams next year because I'm not sure if the quality is sharp enough for you guys. I don't know. Like, it's a little musty on my OBS screen here, but then I'm looking at it on the mini screen here, and I don't know if it's like a little musty because it's supposedly if you set it to 1080p 60 frames per second, I don't know if it's sharp enough for you guys, but I'm like, yeah, maybe I want to try to get like a different image. So like that's like my first plan to get like early next January is to get like an Elgato camera. I think I've had this camera for like maybe 3-4 years, so I think it's time we upgrade. And I'm thinking about upgrading my PC too because I've had that for I want to say 3-4 years, so I think it's time to upgrade. What is my favorite healthy food and drink? Water, and I guess healthy would be like fried chicken because it has a lot of protein. Like that's what my personal training has told me I need to focus on, just eating a lot of protein and getting the right amount of calories and just staying away from fast food. So that's what I've been doing. Honestly, Dante wouldn't be able to make business in Marvel because why hire him for demon problems when there's superheroes that can do that for free? Hey, yeah, that's a good point. Do you agree? Oh, I saw that article. Do you agree that David Joffrey that Kratos is soft? No. Okay, I saw that article. I gotta disagree from on that. It's maturing. I mean, the problem is like I think he misses just Kratos being angry all the time. But the problem is that he couldn't stay that way all the time. Like once he had killed the gods, there was no reason for him to have that rage anymore and it didn't help him at all. I mean, his family was still dead. The gods were dead. Greece had been ruined. I mean, his rage, it caused so much damage. I mean, where else could you go? So I think him going to another place and maturing, I think that was the natural choice. I like where he is as a character. So no, I'm sorry. I mean, I apologize. I mean, I knew you create the character, but you know, Kratos don't need you anymore. I respect you, but no, I 100% disagree. And I 100% disagree. I think Kratos is in a great space right now. Favorite female singer? Ooh, that's tough. Probably Mariah Carey. When she was younger. I don't know about her now. I don't think she doesn't have her voice like she used to. But yeah, I would say just off the top of my head, probably Mariah Carey. In the 90s, to be fair. Which era of Metal Gear do you prefer? The prequel era or the modern era? Define that. What do you mean prequel era? What are you talking about? Like, and modern era. We haven't had a Metal Gear game in a long time. So, like, yeah, you need to specify what you mean by that. And we got 7 more minutes. Considering that souls and demons, Devil May Cry are considered ninth dimension objects, Miles would need to be Chaos God if he wants to challenge Dante. We weren't talking about Dante. We were talking about Nero, and I don't think Nero's as powerful as Dante. He's powerful, but not on that level. I mean, when you watch movies in 4K, do you think it's a bit too dark to see? I haven't experienced that. I mean, if I think something's dark, you know, I would just change the settings on my TV. So to be fair, when I watch 4K videos, I haven't had that issue. Kratos has a kid now. He can't be angry all the time. Obviously, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Hey, what's up, JDS? How you doing? Did I watch Austin Powers? Yes, I did. I watched all 3 of them. And I'm surprised they haven't tried to make a 4th film by now. I am a bit surprised. Because I heard they were thinking about doing another Shrek film, and I don't know how many of those are. But yeah, like, if Mike Myers does not wants to keep just an Austin Powers trilogy, and I'm fine with that. But heck, I think people would welcome a 4th one. You like any G.I. Joe stuff? I mean, not really. I mean, I saw the 2 live-action films, and apparently they're going to be teaming up the G.I. Joe with the Transformers in the next film, so I mean, it's okay, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan of it. When it comes to power scaling, where do you think it gets too ridiculous to regards to scoping characters' powers? That is such a hard question. I don't know how you scale these characters. I'll be honest. It's like, I'll be honest, I really don't know. There's so many different ranges and different descriptions of powers. It's almost impossible. But heck, it's fiction, so there's no limits really. Do you like any Okay, prequel era is MGS3, Portable Ops, Peace Waker. Ugh. Modern is 1, 2, and 4. Okay, well, if you describe it like that, that's tough. Because I don't acknowledge MGS5 as being a part of the series. So you have MGS3, Portable Ops, Peace Walker versus 1, 2, and 4. That's a tough one. I guess I gotta give the slight edge to the modern. Yeah, I probably would have to give the slight edge to that. I mean, MGS3 is the GOAT in my opinion, and Portable Ops is underrated. Peace Walker's good, but I just don't like its story. Its story, we already went through what happened in that game already, so to have to go through it again was just a little annoying. But it was still a great game, just a little annoying. But then you look at 1, 2, and 3, and like they're more balanced out. So that's why I would give the slight edge to the modern era. You accidentally got Persona 5 Tactical for PlayStation 5. Problem is, I don't have a PlayStation 5. Well, then I hope you better save up because you're gonna need one. I did get Super Mario Party. Have fun. Do I go to church? No, I do not. I'm not really a religious person, to be fair. Do you play the Switch handheld or on TV? I do both. Like I can play. Like I'll play it like this at work, and then I got the docking port to my third screen here. And sometimes when I play it here, I'll play it on screen here. Like you guys, you might not have seen my setup, but like I have 3 screens. Like my mount, like the screen here, and there's a screen here. So I have 3 different. I have a 3-screen setup. Maybe if people want to see it, I'll do a video on it. But yeah. The problem with making more Austin Powers movies is Mike Myers himself. That's a solid point. Okay, we got like 2 more minutes, so let's get these last couple questions knocked out. Am I planning on doing more versus videos? No. Carlos, I'm done with those. All the other versus creators have pretty much stopped, so I think the versus series has run its course. Like unless you're gonna add animations, which I'd wanted to do for years, but I can never find a proper animator. I don't really see a point. I think I've done my part. I think I've made enough of an impact from something that was a side project to say like we've done enough of these matchups. We're fine. However, I would be lying if I didn't say that there's a big part of me that wants to do 1 or 2 more matchups. Like part of me really wants to do a follow-up to my Cal Kestis versus Galen Merrick matchup video. I really want to do that. And then another matchup I would want to do is my first faction fight, pitting the Hellgas from Killzone against the Chimera from Resistance. Like a part, like if I had enough support and enough people asked me to do it, and I mean like a lot of people asked me to do one more match, it would be one of those 2. Like, part of me really wants to do those matchups. Favorite handheld gaming device? Ooh. Damn, that's tough. I want to say the Vita. The PlayStation Vita. That would be my favorite. Metal Gear Solid 5 is an epic mess. You're damn right it's a mess. Konami butchered that game to shit. Toy Story 4 sucks, and they're making Toy Story 5. Yeah, I know that, and it shouldn't exist. Toy Story 4 should not exist. Like, 3 had the best ending to a trilogy I've ever seen, and they ruined it in the first 10 minutes of 4. And 4 was so bad, I couldn't stop thinking about those first 10 minutes. Like, I don't even remember what happened in it, but it was bad. Do you plan on getting a better laptop one day? I already did. Like, a lot of people, yeah, I already did. Like, I'm not sure if you guys don't know this already. Yeah. But like, yeah, this is my new laptop. like I've had this for maybe less than 3 months, but like this is an HP like Pavion laptop. Like this is way better than the laptop I had before. This is like a gaming style laptop. Like this is what like yeah I've probably had this for maybe less than 6 months, because I do remember taking this on my trip to go see my brothers. But yeah, I already got a new laptop, and it is fast as hell, and I got it like for like a bargain price. Like I'd seen this type of laptop for a few years now, and I'm happy I finally got one. Except rain, winter. Yeah, I know they do it, but I'm like, they're the exception. Toy Story 4, Kung Fu Panda 4 don't exist. That's a cool laptop. Can you run Crysis? I probably could run Crysis on this if I wanted to. I really could. Do you have a favorite Jackie Chan movie? Probably Rush Hour 2, I would say. Speaking of Disney World, I would go frequently. I love Kingdom Hearts. No, I've not gone to Disney World, but I would like to plan a trip there, but I would not go alone. I would need to go with a group of people. Minimum 4. So that's the thing. Me and John have been thinking about trying to plan a trip to Disney World, but we just need to get enough people together. And with that, I'm going to have to cut the stream there. Yeah, we're a little bit over. But yeah, that's people's questions for this week. Remember, you guys have any ideas, future videos, let me know. I will try to get them up. So right now, I have to stop and try to film my collector's edition video, which is going to take some time. And I will try to get it up as soon as I can. And I'm going to do one more video that I'm going to film maybe later today and upload it tomorrow. Just kind of asking what you guys would like to see next year, so I know what changes and improvements I need to add to the channel, because the channel did not grow as much as I would have wanted to. I was really hoping I would get to 90,000 this year. That way I could shoot for 100,000 next year, so we can get that silver plaque. But we just need to make some proper changes, and I'll be sure to ask you guys what you would like to see next year. So until then, I want to thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. You are the best audience a YouTuber like me could ask for, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.